What's up guys, Gypsy back here today bringing you my week 3 match in the NPL. I'm going to be combining my team builder and my actual game into one video just because my opponent and I didn't get a chance to play till right up to the end of the deadline, and I unfortunately don't have time to make 2 separate videos this week, so bear with me on this one. But I am going to include my team builder obviously before the match, and then I'll just add the match on afterwards. So I hope that you guys can enjoy that, despite it all only being in one video. Anyway, let's jump into the team building. So for this week, we're going up against the Austin Tauros, coached by RobbenVaart. And if you guys haven't heard of him, then I guess you've been living under a rock, because he's a really good player in the draft format. He actually won the previous season of the GPC, and he's proved himself to be a really solid player. He's off to a really nice start this season. And he's got a really nice team, as you can see there, built around Mega Scizor. You know, he's got threats like Latios and Nidoqueen. Not to mention pretty great stops to my team. He's got Arcanine, which is a really nice way to kind of check Weavile. It also, depending on its set, can check Mega Pinsir and my Metagross. And he's got Greninja, which, although it's Protean, although it's not Protean, it's the Torrent set, it's still a fantastic one. It's got great utility in moves like Toxic Spikes and U-Turn, Taunt, all of those things, and it still hits really hard with a Life Orb. You know, its stab is still really powerful. He's got Braviary to capitalize on Defog. He's got Tangrowth, you know, to tank water hits and things of that nature, ground hits. He's got a really nice team, in my opinion, one of the better teams in the league, and that's saying a lot, because every team, in my opinion, is fantastic. But it's, you know, it's a really nice balanced team, which I think is a really smart choice to the format. So without further ado, we'll jump into the mons that I brought this week. First up, we have my Metagross. My Metagross set this week looks pretty standard, even though this is not the standard Assault Vest spread. It looks like the EV distribution is quite standard, but it's actually, what it allows me to do is to far more reliably check a Carmine boosting Latios, a Specs Latios, a Life Orb Latios, as well as allowing me to check something like Galvantula, which is actually a really big threat to my team. As you guys can see, the mons I've brought, Galvantula is a problem. If it's something like a Scarf Galvantula, it can outspeed my Weavile. If it's like a hard-hitting Life Orb or Specs variant, it can do a ton of damage to Zapdos with Thunder. It can do big damage to Mew. Alomomola, you know, obviously takes massive damage from Thunder, and it can outspeed my Pinsir. So that is definitely you know, reasoning behind my massively sped up investment in Metagross. I can actually pass wishes from my Alomomola to my Metagross as well, which is really nice. It really appreciates the wish. Say if a Galvantula wants to switch in on my Alomomola at some point in the match, I can wish up and then pass a Metagross and easily tank any hit, even like a Specs, Bug Buzz or Thunder from the Galvantula, and just heal up to full with a wish from Alomomola. So that is a pretty nice kind of defensive synergy right there. But mainly Metagross is here to take on hits from the Latios. I can Pursuit Trap it, I can Medium Mash the Forages, I can Earthquake the Arcanine, and then Nidoqueen on switch. Grass Knot is here along with a Brave Nature to deal over 50%, around 63 is the mineral to Seismitoad, which is, if he does decide to bring it, which he could well do, you know, trying to capitalize on Alomomola and Zapdos if I'm not running HP Grass, which I am. Grass Knot is basically there to deal big damage to the Seismitoad. It'll also pop a Rindo Berry if he does have Rindo Berry, meaning that Zapdos' HP Grass, which we'll get onto next, will do obviously a ton more damage to Seismitoad. Now, the reason I'm running, another reason I'm running Pursuit on Metagross is that if he is like a Colbur Berry Latios, Pursuit will pop the Colbur, meaning that my Weavile set, which we'll get to soon, can take out Latios guaranteed if he was like a Colbur set. Even though Icicle Crash can still take it out, something like a Pursuit for my Weavile, if he's Colbur, he won't be fearing it as much, so he'll be, you know, much more likely to switch out to a Scizor. So Pursuit and Grass Knot there are actually kind of just ways to pop potential berries on mons that he you know, has there in preparation for, you know, knockoff and hidden power grasses respectively from Weavile and Zapdos. So that's the thought process behind Metagross. The next mon on my team is my Zapdos, and Zapdos is here really to check the Mega Scizor. It does a really fantastic job. No variant of Mega Sizzle gets past Zapdos, and the spread allows me to easily tank bullet punches, knockoffs, bug bites. Sizzle can't really do much to Zapdos. It's Mega, so it doesn't get like natural power rock or anything of that nature. The speed EVs allow me to outpace max speed Adamant Mega Sizzle. Max speed Jolly is, well, it's not very good, to be honest. It's not in his interest to bring it unless he'd like to bring like a max speed Mega Pinsir to speed creep a Mew speed creeping Adamant Mega Sizzle. But I really doubt he's going to do that, considering I've got things like Weavile. I think he's going to bring a more defensively orientated Sizzle this week. So my Zapdos is here, yeah. So to eat up hits, the Rocky Helmet plus Heat Wave with the investment I have guarantees a kill on offensive Sizzle. And if Sizzle has taken like one knockoff from Weavile, it's definitely in range of Heat Wave, even if it is the bulky spread from my Zapdos, along with Rocky Helmet Recoil. So that's there this week. Volt Switch is to gain momentum. I don't want Latios coming in for free. If I can Volt Switch on a potential Calm or something from Latios, then I can go into my Weavile and threaten him out, or my Metagross respectively. Hidden Power Grass, obviously there for the Seismitoad. And as I said, Heat Wave is there for things like Tangrowth and the Mega Sizzle. And even the Galvantula, hitting it harder than Volt Switch would. So the next one on my team is my Weavile, and Weavile I expect to put in a good amount of work this week. I'm running Banded Weavile, and the reason for this is it puts in so much work. Yes, he has a check to it in the form of Mega Sizzle if he decides to bring a defensive Mega Sizzle set, like a really bulky set. But I've got ways to capitalize on a bulky Mega Sizzle, because yes, it can switch into knockoffs and ice crashes from a Banded Weavile. However, Zapdos just switches in. If he wants to roost up, then I can get momentum with Volt Switch on the next turn. If he wants to U-turn, then he risks getting Static Parrot, and he takes the Rocky Helmet damage, so just whittling him down even further for potentially Mega Pinsir to come in and clean up, or even like a Banded knockoff to actually take out the Mega Scissor if it is low enough from Weavile. So knockoff does huge damage to his team. Icicle Crash, obviously 2-hit KOs, fully defensive Tangrowth, a 2-hit KOs, defensive Floridus. Icicle Crash knockoff does, if he's a offensive Seismitoad, Banded knockoff 2-hit KOs. Banded knockoff versus a Seismitoad, if he's defensive, that's a different story. The first one does a ton, the second one doesn't take him out, but we can capitalize on that with other mons. Banded knockoff actually does over 50% to a Greninja, so it does around 60%, and then it's a roll to take him out afterwards. So that's something. If he's taking around a Life Orb, then he's actually 2-hit KO'd, which is really nice. So knockoff Weavile, Pursuit obviously trapping things like the Latios, even things like the Galvantula, or even the Braviary, wanting to switch out on an Ice Shard. And then Banded Ice Shard is kind of nice to clean late game if he has something like a Scarf Latios or a Scarf Braviary, Scarf Galvantula. Just having that extra power behind it is pretty nice for me. I was contemplating bringing Natural Gift Fire, but I just felt as though the power drop in the rest of Weavile's moves, not being able to have a strong Pursuit, and Pursuit is really important because Latios is such a threat to my team. Things like Galvantula are a threat, and I just felt as though the added power this week would really come through for me. So that is the Weavile set. Next up we have Mew. Now Mew is it's a kind of a mixed set this week. I'm running in the sense of its defense, I'm running a fair bit of Spadef, enough to tank 2 Dracos from Life Orb Latios and Roost Up respectively with lefties. I've got investment to kill an offensive Mega Sizzle. I've got enough speed investment to speed creep the Adamant Mega Sizzle, and the rest in HP to just tank general hits. I can live a hit from Greninja. I can kind of scatter set and Roost Up, even if he has Dark Pulse, and then I can pivot to things like Almamola and Metagross. And basically Psychic is just to ensure that Nidoqueen is threatened out. It can't continuously set up hazards on me. I can defog the rocks away, which are very important for Weavile, Zapdos, and Mega Pinsir. And then Flamethrower, is there for the Mega Pinsir, the Mega Sizzle, sorry. I keep getting these bugs mixed up, and Galvantula. So and the Tangrowth as well if he decides to bring a physically, defensive Tangrowth. If he's AV, then it's not going to do much, but it'll still do a decent amount, around 40%, 50% or so, but it's not going to like do massive damage to the Tangrowth. But Mew is pretty much here to keep rocks away and to threaten his rock setters and not allow Mega Pinsir a free SD or a free U-turn or something of that nature. So next up we have the star of the show, or I'm hoping to be the star of the show this week. I feel as though it has the ability to put in a ton of work this game, and that is Mega Pinsir. Now Mega Pinsir is rocking the Adamant nature this week, and I don't really have a reason for running Jolly, to be honest. Jolly doesn't outspeed anything of note. Adamant is really nice for the extra power, allowing me to easily take out defensive Floriges after some prior damage. I can 2-hit KO Arcanine on the switch, provided Hypercutter prevents the Intimidate drop. I've got Swords Dance here because I can set up on things like a bulky Mega Sizzle. It really can't do much to me. Mega Pinsir, as you can see, is actually pretty bulky on the physical side. That nice base 120. I've got some HP investment because I didn't need to obviously invest too much in speed. I just decided to speed creep max speed base 80s. Stuff like Braviary. The rest, everything else is faster than me and dies to quick attack once it's whittled or once I get an SD up. So I really feel as though Mega Pinsir and Weavile are going to put in a ton of work together this game. I feel as though one is going to break and one's going to clean, and that's kind of what I'm hoping to achieve this game with things like Metagross and Zapdos, taking out the threats to those two sweepers and cleaners. My last one on the team is my Alomomola. Alomomola is here to be another check to things like Latios and Nidoqueen. I can tank special hits with ease. When I say ease, I mean I can tank a Draco, I can live it, and then live the next one. I can Mirror Coat if need be. I can pass wishes to Metagross, I can pass wishes to Mew and Zapdos. I can Toxic, switch-ins like Latios and Tangrowth and Arcanine. I can Scald for burns. It's mainly here just to tank some hits. It's not doing any crazy wake up shenanigans or soak. This week it's kind of more of a standard set, but Mirror Coat is there to maybe never surprise kill on Latios. It's actually kind of here to tank hits from Greninja. That was my main kind of thinking behind my Alomomola this week, as Greninja is a real problem. Ice Beam, Surf. Maybe he wants to run like Rock Slide or Low Kick, Dark Pulse, things like that. Alomomola can take everything from Greninja with ease, even like an HP, even like a Grass Knot. And although Mirror Coat won't work on the Greninja because it is Dark type, I can Toxic, I can Scald, I can Wish Up, I can pivot around, and I'm not really too worried about the Greninja, to be honest, because once I determine his set, if he's Life Orb, then he's going to be pretty easy to whittle. If he's like a Expert Belt set, then his attacks will be doing nothing to this Alomomola. So that is the reasoning for Alomomola this week. And if anything, it's sack fodder versus something like Arcanine. It's nice to have a Flare Blitz switch in, because as you can see at this point I don't, and with the defense investment I do avoid the 2-hit KO from Life Orb, Adamant, Wild Charge. So that is pretty nice, and I can always obviously pivot around. I can go into my Zapdos and then pivot back to Alomomola, just abusing wishes and passing to my fatter walls. So there we have the team prep, guys. I'm about to play Rob, and I'm pretty excited because, as I said, he's a fantastic player, and he has a really threatening team. So I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll be bringing you guys the match soon. So yeah, thanks for watching. Alright guys, so here we are with a match versus Rob, and as you can see, he's brought a nice threatening team versus me. He's got the Galvantula, which I immediately noticed just hiding in the middle there. I see it's going to do a lot of work to my team, and I figure it's a pretty nice lead versus my team, in all honesty. What do I have to lead versus it? I noticed that Metagross is, Metagross, I wish. Metagross is my only kind of, check to it. The real thing I want to do with this Galvantula is wear it down. I want to whittle it. I want to put it in range. If it's Sash, I want to put it in range for Dive and Quick Attack, or Ice Shard from my Weavile. The reason I say that is because I do think it could be Scarf. I think it's a very big possibility this game. Knowing that Weavile naturally outspeeds it, it could be Scarf and pop me with a Bug Buzz, expecting me to just go for something like a knockoff as opposed to going for the Ice Shard. It's also possible Either he could be something like a Life Orb variant. Either way, I didn't want any of my other mons except for Metagross really taking a hit, so I did predict him to lead off with it, and we do get that right. We'll jump into the match right here. He leads off with Galvantula as I lead off with my Metagross, and now turn 1, I contemplated going for the Pursuit. The reason being, if he is Galvantula can't really do much to Metagross. I thought, you know, considering I am AV, I thought AV was pretty obvious from his position of my team because he does have a Latios. And I figured turn 1 he'd either Volt Switch or Hard Switch out, so I was really contemplating Pursuit just to break a potential Sash or just put him in range to die from Ice Shard or Quick Attack. However, I didn't want him to stay in and set up webs. I felt as though if I did that, I'd be, you know, it'd be too low of a trade-off in my opinion. And whilst I Pursuit, it would have been a really good play in retrospect. My thinking at the beginning of this match was simply just to stay in an Earthquake, because if you did want to, you know, if you did want to stay in and get a Thunder off or something like that, it would do a ton more than, you know, a weak Pursuit would. So right here, I go for the Earthquake as he volts out. It only does 18%, so at this point, he didn't show like a Life Orb. That's certainly not Specs damage. So I was thinking, you know, possibly Zap Plate, judging from the damage. Timid Zap Plate maybe. He certainly wasn't Timid Sash. He was either Modest Scarf or Modest Sash. But he wasn't like a timid but unboosting item because that damage was just too low, even though I am, you know, max with AV. Nonetheless, he vaults out into Scizor, and it's a pretty nice switch into Metagross because Metagross can't really do much. I'm not, you know, Specs HP Fire unfortunately this week, so right here I go for the Earthquake and it only does 26. So I just go out now into my dedicated answer to the Scizor, which is my defensive Zapdos. As he just maintains momentum by going for the U-turn here, and honestly that's fine. He's whittling himself down, putting him in range. He's actually in range to die from Megapince's return, if I'm not mistaken. But he just goes for the sub here so after the U-turn he switches in his Latios, and that's a big threat versus my Zapdos. Now he subs up, which is a really nice play on his part, you know, blocking a potential T-Wave or Toxic. As I switch out to my Alomomola, now I switch out to my Alomomola just scouting for either a Trick or a Shadow Ball aimed at my Metagross, but he actually subs up right here. Now this is looking like a problem, but I do have a very bulky Metagross who can take this on comfortably, so I just wish up here, you know, potentially expecting the Draco. He hadn't shown Carmine yet, so now he's revealed to be Carmine. So his Carmine sub, I'm assuming he's going to be running Hidden Power Fire coverage for my Whimsicott and my Metagross. He's either running, you know, it's possible he's running Dragon coverage, because I do have a Weavile, and Weavile can switch in on a Psychic, so if, you know, depending on my games with switch-ins, I can get Weavile in safely on Latios if I predict around the HP Fire correctly. But considering I had a Whimsicott, I guess, you know, bringing Draco wouldn't be the best idea. So anyway, I switch into my Metagross and I eat up the Wish as he's +2/+2 behind a sub, and this is kind of concerning. But my thought process is I can comfortably take a +2 hidden Power Fire from leftovers Latios. You know, expecting that he is like max special attack, that is. It'll actually do under 50%, and I can break his substitute with a Meteor Mash, and then break his, and then if he wants to attack me, then I can do at least, you know, 40 to 50, it does over 50%, I can do over 50% with a Meteor Mash to this Latios, putting it in range to guarantee die from a banded Weavile's Pursuit. However, we actually miss our first Meteor Mash. Spoilers right here, as he goes for the Hidden Power Fire, it only does 46%, and we miss the first, and this is big. The reason being, whilst I, you know, hopefully will be able to land my second Meteor Mash and take out his sub, you know, I don't have priority on this Metagross, and even if I did, I wouldn't risk him subbing up on a Bullet Punch. My play is the Pursuit next turn. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. I stay in here and I Meteor Mash on the sub to break it. So this is really unfortunate. His Latios is back up at full, and I go for the Pursuit here just in case he wanted to switch out, I don't know, on a Bullet Punch, which would have been a pretty weird play. Nonetheless, I go into my Weavile, and this is where it sucks, because had I got that clean 50% off with a Meteor Mash, then Latios would be guaranteed in range to die from Pursuit. The banded Pursuit roll is upwards of 90%. However, considering the fact that he's lefties, I don't think that he doesn't need to speed creep anything on my team. I don't have any other base 110s, so I'm assuming he actually is a bit invested. He's probably outspeeding my base 105, my Mega Pincer, meaning that he does have the additional bulk, most likely. So Pursuit, even if he stayed in, wouldn't have taken him out. He does have a safe switch in to Weavile in like a knockoff in the Mega Pincer. If he does switch out here, Pursuit kills. So it was a 50-50 of sorts, but if he was confident that a Life Orb Pursuit, that he could stay in and live a Life Orb Pursuit, then like I could understand him switching out. It was a bit of a 50-50, but right here I stay in and go for the knockoff because a Bandit Pursuit, if he stays in, won't kill, and I need Weavile, so I can't risk him going down to a +2 hidden power fire. So I just go for the knockoff, and in comes the Scizor. So I lose that 50-50 right there, and that's kind of big because now Scizor can come in and roost up pretty much for free. Yes, I get my Zapdos in, but he has a nice switch into my Zapdos in the form of Nidoqueen, which he just pivots out to right here. As I throw off a Heat Wave, it's my best thing to hit the Nidoqueen. I figured Nidoqueen was coming in. It's the best thing to hit the Nidoqueen. I did not carry HP Ice. As I said, I've got HP Grass with the Seismitoad, but I get the burn, which is pretty nice for me. I guess you could call it like some sort of justice for missing the Meteor Mash. But anyway, I get the burn, which is pretty nice. Now I'm just going to switch out to my Mew. I don't want to allow him to get Toxic Spikes or Stealth Rocks up. If he wants to go for Toxic Spikes, I want to get Mew in before those spikes so I can defog them away while avoiding the poison. But right here, I just go for the defog as he brings in his Galvantula. And Galvantula is pretty annoying for my team to deal with. Now, at this point, I hadn't sort of really got a full idea of what his set was. Earlier I said that he may have been Zap Plate, and I stand by, he could have been Zap Plate. I feel as though he was, he's most likely Timid. I thought he could be Modest Scarf. He obviously wouldn't be Modest if he wasn't Scarf, because then he wouldn't outspeed Mega Pincer. But I feel as though he could be Modest Scarf or Timid Zap Plate. So I just decide to stay with Mew here, and I just kind of scout the damage. I just roost off this first turn, wanting to further scout this Galvantula set. If you wanted to go for a Volt Switch right there, then I would have easily been able to eat that up and roost up. And Mew actually has a pretty nice matchup on anything that comes in. He may not want to bring Latios in, fearing something like a knockoff or a taunt. So he goes for Thunder there, and I'm feeling as though I can kind of comfortably take this Galvantula on. If he was choice locked, then he'd probably stay in. He'd probably switch out to something like Mega Scizor, and my plan was to Psychic the Mega Scizor and then hit it up with a Flamethrower on the next turn. But he actually goes for the Bug Buzz here, revealing that he is, he's certainly not choice locked, and he gets the crit, and this is really unfortunate. That does 81%, so it would have done, mid 50s, I think, something like that. Mid to low 50s, which is really annoying. So he gets the crit right there, and that means that you cannot roost up on a Volt Switch. It'll go down to a Volt Switch next turn. He also gets the Spidef drop, so that's really unfortunate for us. The Volt Switch would not have killed, even if he had got the crit, but he hadn't got the Spidef drop. The Volt Switch would not have killed, given that Thunder did 35, and I am especially defensive Mew. So that is really unfortunate for us. Mew goes down here. I wasn't going to let something else come in and just take the hit, because the only thing Mew really roosts up on is the Nidoqueen. Mega Scizor can take me out with Bullet Punch. There's a possibility that Arcanine may be offensive. Mew was the monster sack right here, so that really sucks for us. Losing our Defogger, losing our Mew, who could have put in a ton of work this match, but it happens. So in comes the Braviary as I bring in my Zapdos. Now I go for the Heat Wave here, expecting the Nidoqueen to come in because I know I can 2KO it from that range. As he fires off a clean return, it does 55%, so he's actually a Life Orb set, and that's really nice. It wears down Zapdos, putting it in range where it can die from something like an E-Speed from Arcanine. Basically taking it out of the picture so Mega Scizor can have more fun versus my team. But I'm just going to roost up one more time, putting him in range of the next Heat Wave with the Rocky Helmet Recoil he'll be taking along with the Life Orb. So unfortunately we don't have lefties, so we can't just Life Orb stall him. We do the Rocky Helmet, but we go for the Volt Switch here. The reason being, I don't want to be in on the, I didn't want to take out the Braviary and have the Latios come in and sub up for free on my Zapdos, so I Volt that turn. I didn't think he'd bring in Nidoqueen, as he was kind of sacking off Braviary there anyway. Right here, I go into my Mega Pincer, and he comes in as Arcanine. Now this kind of reveals to me he's more than likely a defensive Arcanine set. as I can just bring my Alamomola, but he makes a nice double out here. He goes into his Nidoqueen, and the reason I say this is nice is because he can get his rocks up, guaranteed. I've shown that I'm static, I'm not pressure on my Zapdos, so I'm not carrying the defog, as he just takes this opportunity to set up rocks. Now, again, I didn't want to leave my Alamomola in because it was just easy, an easy thing for Latios to come right in. An easy way of getting a sub up with Latios, but he just brings in his Galvantula afterwards and just revenges my Zapdos right there. And Zapdos was sack fodder at that point; it was going to die on rocks anyway. So now in comes my Alamomola, and right here, the game's in an interesting spot. Mega Pinsir can still put in a ton of work. I need to weaken this Arcanine so my Mega Pinsir can take it out. And this turn, I predict him to switch out to the Latios, so I just fire off a Toxic. As you know, something like a Waterfall or a Skull was kind of obvious there. As I get the Toxic, I get the Latios on the switch in, and this is really nice for me because I can start putting this Latios on a timer. So he goes for the Hidden Power 5, predicting me to switch out to my Weavile there, which was a nice play on his part. But I just stay in, and I'm not trying to sack my Alamomola at this point because I know I can comfortably take on the Latios unless he crits me at this point because he hasn't got a Calm Mind up. So I just stand and get the Skull, kind of negating the lefties. It's just doing 1% more than leftovers, meaning that toxic damage is really going to take its proper toll on the Latios. But he Calm Minds up. So right here I go for the Scald, and I felt as though, you know, while I could have Mirror Coated here, I wanted to Wish up just to gauge the damage, and the Psychic does 51%. So at this point, if I get another roll, if I get another low to mid roll, I can comfortably live another Psychic and receive the Wish, putting Latios you know, in range to then die from the following hit, the following round of toxic damage, if he wanted to take me out. So he goes for the Psychic here and actually crits me, and that's really unfortunate. It's unfortunate in the sense that Alamomola, you know, didn't get a chance to see the roll, but at the same time, Latios also could have gotten a high roll, so Alamomola would have been taken out regardless there anyway. So this just gives me an opportunity to bring my Weavile, and right here I can just knock off because nothing really wants to switch in. The Mega you know, Pinsir, sorry, the Mega Sizzle could have switched in at that point, but he just brings in his Arcanine, and right here, although I am you know, intimidated, I am the choice band, so I can take this opportunity to kind of scout the Arcanine set. I can weaken it and put it in range to die from Mega Pinsir, so I can just knock off here, removing his lefties, which is really nice. That's actually pivotal because it puts it in range to die from an Adamant Mega Pinsir's return. Now, this was the point that Arcanine is at now. He is in range to die from a mid-roll from return, or Earthquake respectively, but I'm not clicking Earthquake because return does exactly the same amount of damage. He's not Rocky Helmet, so I have no reason not to click return. That was my reason for running Earthquake, just in case he was Rocky Helmet Arcanine and I hadn't already knocked off his item. So now Rob's in a bit of a predicament. If he predicts me to stay in and Swords Dance, his best play is to stay in with Arcanine and just Flamethrower me. Because if he switches out to his Galvantula, which would have been a play just to sack it off, he could have brought Arcanine back in and intimidated me down, provided that I had Mega Evolved and, you know, just attacked. However, if I were to SD on his switch out, then the game would have been guaranteed mine. I wouldn't have needed a roll at all. +1 Mega Pinsir. Obviously, after the Intimidate drop, I would be at +1. It's guaranteed to kill Arcanine at that range of health, and guaranteed to kill Mega Scizor at that range of health. So his best play is to stay in. My best play is just to fire off a return and get that nice mid-roll, which I do. So we take out the Arcanine there, and that's really nice for us. In comes the Galvantula, maybe hoping I don't have the quick attack. Now, I just want to say one more thing about that Arcanine play. Given the fact that, you know, I could have been running Jolly, Jolly Mega Pinsir doesn't kill Arcanine from that range, so if I was Jolly and I had SD'd, I would have had the guaranteed win too, and if I was Jolly and he stayed in and Flamethrower, he would have taken me out, and yeah, it was in his best interest to stay in and Flamethrower basically. So I actually do support that play from Rob right there. I would have done the same thing in his position, to be quite honest, but in comes the Mega Scizor, and because of the bulk I have on my Mega Pinsir and its natural bulk, I can comfortably take the Bullet Punch and just 2-hit KO it with the return. And there you guys have the match. We don't get crit at the end there, which is nice for us. He does get a nice high roll in the bullet punch, but we do survive it and are able to take out the mega scissor right there. So there is the match versus Rob. Really nice game, man. It was really down to the wire. It was very tense. Obviously, like, you know, the media miss was pretty costly for me, meaning that Latios really stuck around and was able to take out Alamamola lately. I would have loved to get that media mash out into the pursuit with Weaver. That would have been really nice, just eliminating that threat early on. But, you know, misses happen, crits happen. We've been getting, we got pretty lucky last week with a lot of crits and flinches and stuff like that. You know, allowing us to get a higher differential in that game. But it's part of the game. We still managed to bounce back despite the misses and the crits, but overall it was a really fun game. I don't think it was like tainted by hacks or anything. It was just little few things here and there. But Rob played really well. He brought a really solid team, and you know, I just want to say thanks again for staying up so late. Like we had real time zone difficulties because we're both working and we're both kind of busy, and so we had to play at the very end of the week. So I do appreciate Rob staying up late his time so we could get the match done before the deadline. You know, that was really nice of you, man. So guys, definitely go and check out Rob's channel. I'm going to be leaving it in the description. I'm sure anyone who's subbed to me is obviously already subbed to Rob because he's more well known in the community than I am. But if you haven't heard of him, definitely go and check him out. Check out the rest of the NPL. I'll be leaving their channel in the description too. I definitely recommend. Everyone in the NPL is just an insane player. Speaking of insane players, next week we go up against my boy Sebastian, the Florida for Alligators, and top tier boy. If you guys, again, all should have heard of him. He's a really solid smoke gun player, and he's proven himself to be a really fantastic draft player as well. He's got a crazy strong OU standard OU team, Clefable, Hooper, Mega Manetric, Scam. So we're going up against that next week, and that is going to be insane. That is going to be crazy. This man is a really scary player, and he's got a crazy team. So I'm looking forward to that. If you guys enjoyed the match, you know, drop a like. Let me know what you thought about my team in the match. And if you guys are, you know, yeah, I'm excited to hear your feedback. I'm very much enjoying my time in the NPL, and hopefully we can keep the win streak going. But as I said, Sebastian's a crazy player, so we'll see how we go. But there we have my week 3 match, guys, and I hope you all enjoyed.